The 9th of November, 1888. By my deeds am I known, and I am known as Jack. Spring-heeled Jack, Jack the Ripper. By my deeds am I known, and they are truly bloody. I took them all to my heart. Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, Mary Kelly, and loved them, truly loved them all. But the immortal power I sought within the sordid confines of their bodies, the still beating organ of the soul, was not to be found. The ritual of the knife was to no avail. I am bereft, and must therefore perform that bloody ritual upon myself.
Stay your hand, Jack, and listen to what I have to say.
How did you find this place? Who are you?
My name is Legion, for we are many. The immortal power that you seek does exist. It does indeed lie within the soul, but only within certain ones, certain dark souls.
My God! What are you that you can produce such things from thin air?
Merely an explorer, much like yourself.
What is it that you want from me?
You are an architect by trade, are you not?
I am.
Then I would have you build a cathedral to pain, a place where you and I and others like us may join together, a place of asylum for all of the unique and misunderstood individuals that will follow you as the time of Armageddon approaches. And at the heart of asylum, we shall construct a great dark engine powered by souls of equal hue, and we shall harness their power to create an immortal army to punish and cleanse this pathetic world.
And where might I build this cathedral of yours?
Across the veil, in the darkness, amongst the restless spirits of those who have passed beyond, in the place known as Deadside.
Then, if I am to join you, I must die.
It is prophecy. We cannot fail, for we are many.
For we are many!
Amen to that.
The end is sooner than you think.
Come to mama, baby.
Hey there, Space Cadet.
Damn,
beautiful
We are many.
There's a darkness coming.
What's the problem, Magneta?
I had a dream, Shadowman. A real bad dream. A dead-side dream. The five are here. The heralds of the apocalypse. Deacon's file confirms everything I feared. The end's coming, Shadowman. An ancient prophecy tells of the return of a great evil to Deadside. A terrible force gathering dark souls to its darker heart and using their power to cross over into this world and bring about apocalypse.
I must stop this evil from bringing about the end of all things.
Only you can do it, Shadowman. You are the walker between the worlds. I can't go Deadside, and Jaunty's next to useless in both worlds. You are the only one who can do anything about this.
As it ever was.
But you ain't never confronted anything like this evil. It's so pure, not even the ancient protectors of the dark souls could destroy it. They could only banish it from Deadside. They knew it'd come back one day, hence the prophecy telling of its return. The power of the ancients is all but gone now, and the dark souls that evil desires lie unprotected. What you gotta do, Shadowman, is to go Deadside and recover the dark souls. Take them into your own protection before evil gathers them to its terrible heart.
Okay, so let me get this straight. If I don't recover these dark souls, then the world's gonna end. Am I right?
You got it.
Shit.
Look, I gotta go. I've got a lot to do. Take Deacon's file and meet me at dawn at the church on the hill. I've kept your stuff safe for you.
I hate this shit. Just a pawn in Nettie's master plan. She moves me in mysterious ways, and brother, sometimes she really does move me. Can't do nothing about it since, nice as you please, she knitted my ribs into the mask of shadows. I got nothing left anyways. It's my fault Luke's dead, and Mom and Pop too. I deserve everything I get. Every bad thing that comes my way. Can't live, can't die. Deadside's the perfect hood for me. A nowhere place. The asshole of the universe.
Greetings YouTubers, Rymante here, and that was the introduction to Shadow Man, an action-adventure game from the Turok developers released back in 1999.
Now where the hell is that church?
Now, before we find the church like Mike here suggested, let's turn our attention to this little nook hidden off to the right of the screen, where we'll find our first Cado, a collectible that will let us increase our health count once we find 100 of them and deliver them to a special location later in the game. Now, if you were paying attention during the second opening cutscene, you'll remember something called Deacon's File being mentioned, and that's what's being shown now on screen. The file contains criminal profiles on The Five, a group of serial killers who serve as the main antagonists for a large chunk of the game. If you want to really dig in and see what makes these psychos tick, then you can watch a separate video I'll be uploading soon and linking to in an annotation and in the description below. But for now, let's move on with the actual game. The footage you're watching is from the PC version of Shadow Man, which was released alongside the Nintendo 64 version back in the summer of 1999. Later that year we would see a port to the PlayStation, which I have not played, but here is plagued with technical problems, and the Dreamcast, which I have played and still own, and it seems identical to the PC release in terms of content and presentation. The only major differences being some sound glitches and long loading times on the Sega console. Something that can be difficult to endure considering the Dreamcast disk drive noise sounds like it's struggling to chop down the thickest tree in the world. Now, you might have noticed we passed by a strange cocoon-shaped thing whilst I was running around collecting Cado. You might have also noticed an area with a Cado that I couldn't reach yet. You'll find out about the cocoon soon, and yes, this game does involve some backtracking in order to complete it.
Huh?
Well, that was weird. But at least we can see the church now, where Nettie, the woman from the opening, is waiting for us to guide us on our journey to collect the Dark Souls. Before we get into the real meat of this game, I should point out a few things. I like Shadow Man a lot, but it has issues. This was a game designed for systems with only one analog stick. So, of course, the biggest issue is no camera control. Instead, the camera stays firmly fixed behind Mike's back at all times, which can be a right pain in the arse when you have to make a tricky jump out of confined space. I'm playing this PC version with an Xbox 360 controller. It supports enough buttons for me to actually finish the game, but I can't assign actions to the triggers or the D-pad without a program like Joy to Key. Hell, by default you have no choice but to press escape to access the start menu where you save the game, even on a controller. Oh well. I guess these are minor quibbles considering a 13-year-old game still works on a modern Windows 7 PC. Miracles!
Made it.
Oh good, we've reached the church. Let's get away from the suspicious dogs and hear what Nettie has to say.
Nettie?
Hey there, Mike. Glad you could make it.
How could I refuse your offer? How could I ever refuse you, Agneta?
You can't. I'm simply irresistible. I hope you read the file I gave you, and read it real well. Between the lines, you'll find the signs.
You got my stuff?
Come on in, honey.
You know, on the way over here, I got to thinking about these Dark Souls. If they're so damn dangerous, why didn't the ancients just destroy them?
Because that's impossible. Their power is their immortality. If evil ever manages to implant these immortal souls into its monstrous slaves, can you imagine the carnage an immortal, unbeatable army would bring to the earth? That's apocalypse, Shadow Man. That's the end.
Okay, so I really gotta get to the Dark Souls before the bad guy. I understand that, but where do I find them?
In Govi. Each Govi has been sealed by the most powerful voodoo. Not even the greatest Bokor or Mambo can open them to release the dark soul within. Believe me, I've tried. But a Shadow Man, or something even more powerful, just might be able to do it. Release the dark soul and take it into yourself. But be warned, the dark souls are a pure and ancient evil and possess a power that should not be abused.
Okay. Let's just get this thing over with. You got my stuff?
Right here.
A real scare, Mike.
Jesus, Luke! He's alive! Alive and in pain. I gotta help him.
He's dead, Mike. You know that.
I know, but I saw.
It's understandable that you still have strong feelings for your brother. That's why the bear works for you, connecting you to Deadside. Use it now, Mike. Go Deadside and find Geordi. He's waiting for you at the Marrow Gates. He's got something to show you.
Okay.
And Mike?
Yeah?
If you need me, I'll be here. Now, go see Geordi and get them dark souls.
Did the screaming child startle you? Haha, trust me on this. You ain't seen nothing yet. Now, once we've collected the stray Caddo around the church, let's use Mike's magic teddy bear to basically teleport to hell! Yay!
I am the Lord of Deadside, Shadowborn at the confluence of worlds to walk between. Lifeside is without the meaning that my partly living possesses here in Deadside, where the darkness is manifest at the edges of reason. As a god, I step forth upon the writhing, suppurating surface of the Deadside serpent. What sleep is here? What dreams there are in the unctuous coilings of the snake's mortal shuffling. Weapon in my hand, the arcing death blow at the end of all things. The horror, I embrace it.
My advice? Get used to Shadowman's poetic monologues. There's a new one every time you enter a new area in Deadside. You should also get used to standing in large rivers and lakes of blood. However, we can't worry about that now, as it's time for our first taste of combat. Here's how combat works. Imagine Ocarina of Time. Now imagine it without Navi. Congratulations! You have mastered the combat of Shadowman. Okay, obviously there's a little bit more to it than that. Your main weapon is a Desert Eagle handgun. Well, it is in live side. On Deadside, that Desert Eagle transforms into the almighty Shadow Gun, which fires soul-ripping wraiths at your foe. If the final blow to an enemy is from a Shadow Gun blast, the enemy will explode in a shower of giblets and leave behind some health for you. This, combined with the fact that the Shadow Gun gets stronger as you collect more Dark Souls, makes it a weapon you'll rely on for pretty much the entire game. I'll go into more depth about the combat later. For now, we have someone to meet.
Michael, over here! Hello there, Michael. How's that treating you?
Geordi, kindly refer to me as Shadow Man. Michael Lawa has no place here in Deadside.
Whatever, Mick. It's good to see you again. Seems like simply ages since I last set me eyes on your happy, smiling mug.
The feeling's mutual.
I suppose you've been away dallying with the old battle axe, giving her one with some of that righteous voodoo so she can stay forever young?
Something like that.
She's been filling your head with her fated pillow talk again, I'll bet. Doomsday in an army giddy until you're drunk with the stuff.
She did happen to mention a certain prophetic dream she's been having.
Did she now? Well, for once I think the owl witch might be right. See that bloody big black tower yonder?
How could I miss it?
Well, old Bruegel, the medieval painter blokey, was just telling me the other day that he thought it looked remarkably like a picture he once did.
Is that Peter Bruegel?
No, Seamus, his distant Irish cousin. Anyways, he was quite shocked, so he was, at the terrible mess that bloody thing's making. Appearing out of nowhere and tearing its way through the place like there's no tomorrow. Which, given what Nettie's saying, might not be too far from the truth.
Any idea what's going on in there?
Nope, and I shan't be knocking on the front door to find out neither. All I'll say is, if there's something wicked heading this way, it'll be coming from in there.
Nettie mentioned the Dark Souls. Can you tell me any more about them?
I'm afraid I'll have to reply in the negative again, Michael. Suffice it to say, Nettie's told me that they're bloody powerful, well nigh indestructible, and shouldn't fall into the wrong hands.
Any idea where they might be?
What am I, a Dark Soul travel guide now? I suppose you could try all of the ancient sacred places down amongst the whalers and shiverers. I just hope that none of them souls have ended up in that filthy big black tower.
From what Nettie was saying, some of them already have, which is all the more reason for me to be pushing on. Open the gates, Geordi.
Places to go, people to see, eh, Michael?
Just open the gates, Geordi.
Did I ever tell you about the time me and Attila the Hun were playing skittles with the guillotine heads of the French aristocracy?
Geordi.
All right, keep your bloody hair on. Which, looking at your shining bonds, may prove to be rather difficult. Open sesame! And if you be wanting to pop by and chat a while, I'll still be here. It's just a shame we can't share a drop of the hard stuff together by a ardent peat fire.
I don't drink with snakes.
Ah, jaunty, you silly Irish snake thing with a skull for a head and a top hat, you. I wish we could stay and chat, but we've got Dark Souls to find. I guess now is as good a time as any to finish talking about combat, so... About that final blow I mentioned. Another wrinkle of this game's combat is that most enemies drop down to their knees after receiving a certain amount of damage. They must be finished off whilst in this state, or they will recover some of their health and rejoin the fight. This can be a little irritating in fights with groups, as you might expect. Oh yeah, there's also a first-person aiming mode as well. You won't see me use it too much, as you can't move in this mode, only look and shoot. Peekaboo! No enemy can escape my secret power of having played the game before. I'm going to rush through most of this early part and run past some enemies. Shadow Man is actually rather weak at this early point of the game, and fights are a bit of a chore this early on. So, for those of you who haven't played the game before and start having questions like, wait, what was that funny looking thing you ran past? Don't worry. We will inevitably be revisiting these places in the quest for the Dark Souls, and your questions will then be answered. Right now, my current objective is to reach the entrance to the Paths of Shadow, a hub area which connects all the other Deadside locations. When I reach this place, I will also be able to collect my very first Dark Soul, which will open things up tremendously. See what I mean about early combat being a chore? I would have had to fight 2 of those things earlier if I had stayed and fought in that tunnel moments ago. Fortunately, I've now just triggered a shortcut that will make return trips here a bit easier. That was a coffin gate I just opened. That one had no requirements, but all coffin gates after this require certain levels of shadow power to open.
This way, Mikey.
Looks like someone left me a note.
The ghostly bear image signifies I've just found a new warp point. And this book I've just found is The Prophecy, which foretells the apocalypse that Nettie's been on about. However, it also rather handily shows us and tells us the names of all the weapons and upgrades we'll be collecting throughout the game. Feel free to pause the video here if you want a closer look at this stuff. I may also stick it in with that separate video with Deacon's file in it as well. Wait, do you hear that? Sounds like that same heartbeat we heard from the Govi. Aha! There it is! Govi can only be broken open with the Shadow Gun, so let's go collect our reward.
Power of the Dark Souls. I embrace it.
With that, Mike's shadow powers have increased to level 1. He can now open level 1 coffin gates, charge up his shadow gun for more damage, and store voodoo energy. Basically an ammo reserve for the other voodoo magic weapons you could acquire throughout the game. This ammo can be replenished by collecting the orange skulls found in containers like these pots. I think that will do for our introduction to the world of Shadow Man. Join me next time when we'll be tackling the first proper level, the Wasteland, in an attempt to buff up Mike's shadow powers. Until then folks, ta-ta for now.